During my short video clip yesterday, I mentioned that I would be sharing a story, a book with you, and I'm planning on doing that right now. And if I can, I'll tell you more about it a little later. It's called Reading with Dad by Richard Jorgensen, and I think it's still available out there. So if you Google Reading with Dad, Richard Jorgensen, you might be able to find it, and I'm sure some of you will want it. If not, for your spouse, for your grandchildren, for your whomever. It's that touching a story. It's not long, and it goes like this. We're there in the photo that hangs on the wall. This is the first childhood memory that I can recall. There's three of us snug in an overstuffed chair. Well, two. It just felt like the third one was there. The cat in the hat, my father and I. It's just before bed. I'm warm and I'm dry. My father is laughing. I'm turning to look. I'm watching him laugh as we're reading this book. We're having such fun as he was holding me tight. There was always a book before saying goodnight. This picture shows the best times I've had in every one of them, or when I was reading with my dad. When I was 8, I could read by myself, but sometimes my books would be left on the shelf, where dolls, pets, and teddy bears filled up the space, where storybook walls made my daydreaming place. So, my favorite time at the end of each day was to sit by the fire, all of my toys put away, well, most of them anyway. Then I'd open a book knowing that my dad would listen and he'd look. When they're at the foot of his overstuffed chair, I'd read to my dolly, my hamster, my bear. They all loved my stories, but what made me feel so glad was that all of us really, we were reading with my dad. Then came that magical summertime's night. I was trying to sleep, but the moon is too bright. When I heard his footsteps from out in the hall, he couldn't sleep either, and he whispered a call. Psst, are you awake? Come on, I've got just the thing. Let's go to the porch. Let's sit on the swing. You get your flashlight and I'll fetch what we need to send you to dreamland. Come on, sweetie. Let's go outside and read. And then night after night, it was pirates and kings, wind in the willows, wizards and rings, tale after tale from the books that he had. But the greatest adventure was that I was reading with my dad. As I grew, his stories and words had me hooked. Most evening, the library table was hooked. Though high school meant homework, athletics, and some boys, the library shelves were the greatest of joys. There was Dickens, Austen, Bronte, Twain. They were friends that I'd visit again and again. And later at university, each time I'd call, he'd ask me, "What are you reading?" And he wanted to know all of what I was thinking of: Shakespeare or Poe or Homer or Wordsworth or Frost or Thoreau. His long-distance bill must have looked awfully bad across all of those miles. I was still reading with my dad. Now the leather is cracked in his overstuffed chair. It sits by my fire, and it's the place where I read to my children, and they cuddle beside. And though it's their bedtime, their eyes are open wide as pictures and poems and stories unfold from inside of covers of books, new and old. And sometimes their grandpa will listen a while as he sits by the fire, and I'll catch a faint smile or a gleam in his eye as he gives me a wink, a gleam that would cause me to quietly think, what must he be thinking? All those grand times that we had after all of those years. I'm still reading with my dad. Now he's the one who's lying in his bed. I fluff up the pillow beneath his gray head, and I know that although he's ready to rest, he wants me to read to him from the books I love best. And so once again, we fall under the spell as we travel that story road that we both know so well. This story is short, though. I'm weary, I can see. So I quietly finish with Psalm 23. And softly he says, as I turn out the light, there was always a book for us before we said goodnight. The best times that I've ever had were all of those times that I spent reading with my dad. Try reading that to my little girl, Victoria, when I'm no longer here. Oof.